you feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. Phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. And we've got AA Ron from Eau Claire. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? It's AA Ron from Eau Claire. Driving home from a day of stuff in the Twin Cities, and was listening to your podcast about Kenny Clark, and then specifically your diatribe about groupthink and about people that'll just come after you because you say an unpopular thing. It kind of got me thinking. You know, you were going through all those different reasons that people might act that way, which is very interesting, and I find that kind of psychology very, very interesting overall. But it kind of reminds me of some of my friends who are Cowboys fans, because I lived in the Dallas area for 5 years, so I know quite a few Cowboys fans, and whenever the Packers would play them in the playoffs, they would always post on social media stuff like, yeah, you know, Cowboys are going to crush the Packers this week. I can't wait. And the Packers would, you know, be dominating the Cowboys. And then I'd look at their feeds and they'd be like, oh, man, the refs are just giving it to the Packers, you know. They're just so biased or whatever. So it just reminds me of that, where it's like, if the game doesn't go the way that you had predetermined it should, you blame everything and anything other than just the reality that your team just didn't play as well.
Oh yeah, or the reality that you were wrong, right? You convinced yourself or came to the conclusion that the Cowboys are a better team and therefore they're going to win. And when that doesn't happen, rather than allowing yourself to change your mind, finding anything else. And yeah, sometimes the refs do things that are this or that or whatever, but the amount of times that things like that are used as an excuse is, or any excuse, most fans will find any excuse other than, dang, guess I was wrong. They weren't the better team.
So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I mean, we all, like you said, we all do it, and we all experience cognitive dissonance or disappointments that we can't resolve, and so then we, you know, try to explain things away. But yeah, I think, you know, it is important that we try to live in that sense of reality. So, fortunately, right now, our reality is not too bad. Just overall as a team, regardless of Kenny Clark not playing super well, we've, you know, got a lot to be grateful for. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just the way people are sometimes, unfortunately. So, anyways, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think I don't know, it can make any sort of dialogue impossible. That's why, you know, at some point you just got to stop the fighting on social media and stuff, because, you know, you're never going to win a fight, because it doesn't matter what the truth is. What matters is, can I find an excuse to continue believing what I want to believe? And the answer is almost always yes. Is there anything I could possibly do to excuse this so that I can continue believing what I believe? So it just gets to be annoying. But do whatever you want to do. If you know, people want to just say my team's the best and the only reason they lose is because, you know, it's like it's kind of like the Lombardi quote, Packers have never lost, they just ran out of time. It's a good quote. It's funny, but it kind of falls in line with that.
Hey, Ryan, it's Brooke from Illinois.
What up?
I always get so nervous on these calls. I'm just calling in with a little fun story and maybe a question if I have time. So my family is kind of spread out. I live in Illinois. My parents moved to Kentucky. I have a cousin in California and another cousin kind of close by. So watching the game is kind of like a whole thing. I have my iPad on a stand and I'm FaceTiming my dad while I'm texting my two cousins and just kind of watching it as a whole family, and just, you know, everybody's calling for certain things and, oh my gosh, look at this and all that fun stuff. So we're watching and my dad is casually talking on the other side down in Kentucky, and he's like, how about a pick six? And then literally the next play was Jair's pick six. And I was like, oh my God, Dad, you called it. I mean, I was like flipping out. I found that to be so incredibly entertaining. And we tend to do that a lot. It's like, okay, how about a sack? How about a pick? How about a this? You know, trying to encourage the team even though they can't hear us. So things progressed on the game, and even though we kind of had it in the bag, I'm kind of superstitious and never want to say anything. And then when they're like driving down, I'm getting kind of nervous, and I looked over at my dad. I was like, okay, sack, fumble, something, sack, something. And then the next play was the sack fumble. And I was like, oh my God, like literally freaking out again. We've done that before where it's like, okay, how about a sack? And then a sack happens. But to have that happen twice in one game, I was just like, wow, like, should I go play the lottery or something like that? It was just really funny. And there weren't a whole lot of people that I could tell that would care very much about that, because I live in Illinois and all my friends are Bears fans. God rest their souls. And, yeah, everybody that cares about football I was already talking to. So that was kind of fun. The only other thing that I was kind of wondering, since I have a little bit of time left, are you afraid that Jordan will come back out kind of like he was early 2023 Jordan, where everybody's, you know, kind of thinking that he's a bust and blah, 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 and all the stupid fans are going to be calling for Malik to go back in and all that fun stuff that fans do. So I'm hoping that we'll get, you know, late 2023 Jordan, but, you know, with the Eagles game looking the way that it did, it just makes me nervous to have us be so, you know, crazy good right now in terms of quarterback and everything just working. But I'm sure LaFleur will plan the game accordingly and all will be fine. But I was just curious what you think. So, yeah, have a great day. Go Pack, go.
Well, first of all, appreciate your service. You never really know who's going to be the one controlling the game, but somebody out there is wearing the right shirt, the wrong shirt, saying the right things, doing the wrong things. Somebody needs to get back in the kitchen, stop coming out of the kitchen. I used to yell at my dad about that all the time. He'd come back into the living room from the kitchen and something bad would happen. Be like, get out, go in the kitchen. What are you doing here? So I appreciate that. And good on you for realizing that you were the one in control and then calling out good things. So we all got to do our part. You know, we all think it's football players and coaches and everything that determine the game. That's obviously nonsense. That's a whacked out conspiracy theory. We are the ones that steer the ship, and we gotta. It's us against Vikings fans. You know what I mean? They're out there wearing their shirts and their socks and whatever superstitious stuff they got. So it's mano-a-mano time. Yes, I'm very nervous about Jordan Love. Again, his first outing was iffy. The whole team was iffy, but, you know, slippery conditions, et cetera, it was not the best. Malik then comes in and was basically perfect. And now we got Jordan coming off very little play. I mean, you got the offseason, you got a little bit of stuff in the preseason, practices, et cetera, and then you get one game, you go down, and now you got to play. It's not the best situation, especially against a defense that's getting a massive amount of praise right now for how good they are. There has been some debate on Twitter whether they're actually that good, but it doesn't matter. I've said it before. The odds that Jordan is going to come out and be as efficient as Malik are almost zero, because quarterbacks just don't do that. So, yeah, there's going to have to be some patience, and I think the bigger thing is understanding the bigger picture. Our offense as a whole is better when Jordan is the quarterback. I like Malik a lot. And maybe, you know, if everything was real, maybe over time you could develop a different style of offense with some different players and really dominate the NFL with a guy like Malik. But this is a team built on Matt LaFleur's game plan, which is designed around Jordan Love. A lot of the pieces that we've drafted have been for the offense that Matt LaFleur has crafted specifically around Jordan Love. You know, again, especially when we start looking at some of the speed guys and the deep threats and really spreading out the field, I think it's important. Now, Jordan still has to come in and execute. That's going to be an important part, and Matt LaFleur still has to come up with a game plan to beat the Minnesota Vikings, which last time we saw them beat the living crap out of them. So hopefully it's a similar game plan to whatever he did on that one. But yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the reaction. I mean, honestly, I'm more so nervous about Jordan just not playing super well. Because that's just going to start setting off alarm bells in my head. That's going to make me think things that I shouldn't be thinking. You know, we've seen him. Forget Malik. We've seen him twice now, and it hasn't been great. We're closing in on midseason. We haven't had a good game from him yet. You know, I just don't want to have those thoughts. I don't need those kind of intrusive thoughts. You know what I mean? So hope he has a good day. Hope the Packers have a good day. Win, lose, or draw. I just want something encouraging, you know, especially along the defensive line. I'm obviously very nervous about Quay and Kenny, but even Rashawn, you know, I like Rashawn, but it's to the point now where I really just don't expect him to be a premier pass rusher, and that's not great. Do I think he's better than maybe some fans think he is? Yeah, probably. I think his stats are this, that, or the other, but like I said, ever since he got paid and people wanted to fire back about that and, well, that's not it. It was something else or injury or whatever the case. Like, all right, fair enough. We'll see this year. So far, you know, okay, but maybe a little better would be nice. You know, I just want you to be better than the tackle across from you, I guess. I don't know. But, and again, I do think when you actually watch him, very rarely do I see him just getting the crap beat out of him. Usually he's pushing his way to the quarterback. He just needs more time, and he doesn't have enough time. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm just saying I would like to see some encouraging signs. That would be nice. And then you know, a win, obviously, would be nice.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Nico.
Hey.
What's up?
What's going on?
Hey, I have a problem. I need advice.
Oh, boy.
So, I'm in this fantasy football league, and sad to say, my number one wideout is Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
And maybe this isn't a question for you. Can you call Heffley for me, or maybe Jai?
Yeah.
Air,
sure.
And or somebody find out. I need to know if he's going to get shut down. Are we going to shut down Jefferson? Do they even have a quarterback this week? Maybe that's a question. I need to know, dude. I got to win here.
Okay. I understand.
Problem is, I have nobody to put in for him. My other wide receivers, well, maybe Alec Pierce, but I got Watson. But I haven't had him in for a week here because he's not producing. So I need to know. Well, am I the only guy in the whole world who would pull out Justin Jefferson, who's been averaging 20 points a game, and put in Watson, who's been averaging hold on. Oh, this phone. I got it. Watson. Got it. Oh, he's been averaging, he's got 19 points through 3 games, so 6.333. But my Packers, man, I can't be rooting for some guy to go against my team. I need help. Rico out. Go Pack, go.
I mean, it's easy as a fan to be like, you know, I really think they can do it. I think they can shut them down. But if you remove yourself from the fandom, you know, because you kind of said it, you know that's stupid, right? Even if Jair and the entire defense shuts him down, you don't feel bad about it. It was the right decision. It's always going to be the right decision to keep in premier players. And here's the other side. If he gets shut down, let's say he gets exactly 0 points. Let's say he gets negative points. The sadness from the fact that your player sucked and you know, I can't even say should have sat or pulled him because it's nonsense. You don't pull guys like that. It's going to be overcome by the fact that we beat the crap out of the Vikings. I mean, not necessarily, but I mean, come on. If the defense shuts him down, there's a good chance you had a good game. So just do what you know you need to do. Allow fantasy to be fantasy and let your Packers fandom be your Packers fandom. You know, keep it separate but equal. I don't know why that's it's not equal, but it just felt like the thing to say in that moment.
Hey, Ryan, Danny from California.
I just remembered what that context was from now. Oh, jeez. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Caleb Williams, thinking about Malik Willis, thinking about Jordan Love, just quarterbacks in general, right? And really thinking about Matt LaFleur, how he had Matt Ryan as an MVP before when he was coaching him as a quarterback coach, and then 2 Aaron Rodgers seasons where he was MVP, and Jared Goff. I don't think he won any awards, but that first Jared Goff year was really something special as well. You look at Tom Clements, at least 2 to 3 Aaron Rodgers MVPs. It's kind of hard to, because it goes so far, right? You got to kind of go back. And then you also had 2007, the Brett Favre revival year. Like, we got coaching infrastructure down, right? And especially coaching infrastructure at the quarterback position, it's vital. You look at the Bears, they don't really have any quality quarterback coaching. They got Shane Waldron. Yeah, he kind of turned around Gino, but I give that more credit to Dave Canales. Dave Canales turned Baker around, so it's like, yeah, that's probably him, because Gino sucked last year, even though he's doing better this year. You look at even Sean Mannion, he's the assistant quarterbacks coach, and he's getting the Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers treatment from Tom Clements. He's being brought along to be the future quarterbacks coach, most likely, and he's getting first-hand crash course. It's just like the Packers know quarterback. They know what to do. Malik Willis, he's got 3.
Well, not only do they know quarterbacks, they understand the importance of quarterbacks, which sounds stupid because it's like, oh, come on. Like, there is a team that doesn't understand the importance. I mean, look at what teams are doing. Again, look at the Bears. What did they do? They don't have a quarterback. They have a quarterback crisis, including a guy that they currently believe in, although they're getting nervous about it, as the starting quarterback. And we need him to perform. And you bring in a defensive head coach. Okay. I mean, I guess that can work if you really build with the rest, but my mind goes to a guy like Matt LaFleur. Find an offensive guy that specializes in quarterbacks. Go look at his history, and if you see, you know, former college quarterback, and then quarterback coach in college, and then, you know, quarterback guy here, and quarterback / wide receiver / pass game, you know, all that kind of stuff. They have their roots in quarterbacks. And then especially if, like Matt LaFleur, he was the quarterback coach of a guy like, oh, I don't know, Matt Ryan, the 1 year that he dominated the league and won MVP. Yes, Matt Ryan. We forget that for a very brief period of time, he and the Atlanta Falcons were unstoppable. That was the Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur era of the Atlanta Falcons. Then you go get Shane Waldron. Why? I don't know. I mean, he's not really a quarterback guy, and he's not a former player or anything like that, but he's a young guy, and he seems to do a good job with offense, sort of, kind of, I guess. Maybe they were infatuated with the fact that Seattle brought in Gino, and Gino for the first time was good, and they said, that's got to be our guy. I don't know. But he got his first start as a, you know, as far as positions, a tight ends coach for the Patriots. Then he went on to be a wide receivers coach back in college, and then offensive coordinator, and then back to tight ends. Closest thing he ever got to specializing in quarterbacks was 2019 pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, which is probably a bad decision because the heck does he know about quarterbacks? Okay, so what about the quarterback coach? Is he at least a former quarterback? Oh, yeah. They brought in Kerry Joseph, former quarterback. Well, that's cool. He mostly played in Canada, but, you know, he played quarterback. Does he have extensive history working with a bunch of quarterbacks? Well, no. He started as an intern in 2014 with the Saints, then went back and screwed with college programs like McNeese State, or McNeese State. Came back to the NFL in 2020 as an offensive assistant, so still not even like a coach. He's still one of those guys just scrambling down notes. Then he was a wide receiver coach and then assistant quarterback coach for Seattle. So he got brought over from Seattle as a guy who's just kind of learning to be a quarterback coach. It's kind of just more of a come up for a guy that's working his way up, and good for him. I mean, it's great experience for him, but we're kind of beyond the point of, again, we found a guy that's on the come up. Right, really smart former quarterback. Everybody knew he was going to be a coach. What do? We hire him, who, by the way, is probably already more equipped than Kerry Joseph. We hire him, and then we make him the assistant quarterbacks coach. It all just comes down to understanding the value of quarterbacks and the amount of effort that you should be willing to put into the position. Fans might get mad when the Packers draft quarterbacks when you already got quarterbacks, or continually draft quarterbacks as they like to do. Maybe not super early, but, 5th, 6th, 7th round, we continually bring them in. I'm still upset that we drafted one this year. He looked really good and we let him go, but whatever. It all worked out in the end with Malik. But yeah, I mean, we've got a head coach that is in my opinion, quarterback guru on top of being a brilliant offensive mind. Thanks to Aaron Rodgers, we bring back a brilliant quarterback coach with unbelievable amounts of experience. And then, knowing that he's not going to be here forever, and we're fortunate enough that he decided to stay on after Rodgers left, we bring him a helper, which is a really talented, young up-and-coming guy, so that when the time comes, he's got a job waiting for him. And the Bears do what they did. Defensive-minded guy, a very inexperienced offensive coordinator who seemed like he made something work, although Seattle seems to be still working, and it's not here. And then as a quarterback coach, rather than finding a veteran somewhere, he just drags along the guy that he had as his assistant quarterback coach over there because he feels like it's a good time for his come-up. And look at what the heck is happening. By the way, we're going to keep the same offensive line coach and all. It's whatever. If you want to care about the position, care about the position.
Really good voices at quarterback, trying to mold them. He's playing good. Jordan hopefully comes back this week. He gets, 3 really good mentors to help, bring him back along on his, return from injury. But this is why you don't see as crazy as a drop-off as you see, is because they're invested in quarterback success. And I'm a big fan of what the Green Bay Packers do when it comes to QB infrastructure. They hired a QB guy as the head coach, even bringing back Tom Clements. Davis Mills, I know Davis Mills is not a starting NFL quarterback, but there was one year where people were starting to say, hey, maybe this guy could be something. You want to know who his quarterback coach was? Tom Clements. So, yeah. Green Bay Packers, you know what they're doing. The Bears should have sacked Caleb. Now they're ruining him. Hopefully 3 years from now, they'll have the number 1 pick again, and then we can laugh at the next one they're going to ruin. So, fun times. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I really wasn't super buying into the whole it's because of the organization thing with Justin Fields. And again, Justin is not a good quarterback. He's just not. But man, it's a compound issue, right? It's not true that if not for the Bears' ineptitude, that Justin would be a top quarterback in the NFL. I don't believe that that's true. Still, it has to be the worst place in the world to be a quarterback. And it's staggering to me how little they seem to care about it. I mean, they really genuinely believe that if we just find an elite quarterback, it'll take care of everything. It's sort of like all the people, it's like they bought into all the hype about Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers is just dragging the team. The coach sucks, GM sucks, everybody else sucks. Like Devontae's pretty cool and Bakhtiari. Everyone else mostly sucks. Aaron Jones is cool. But Rodgers is just dragging that team. And so the Bears are like, we just got to find that guy that drags everybody. Then I can put my feet up on my desk. I don't have to work so hard. We just need somebody to come in here and drag stuff. And then they saw Caleb, and everyone's like, dude, this is a dragger if I've ever seen one. I've never seen since Pat Mahomes, man. And, once he got into the NFL, not like when he was in college, when he wasn't even a number 1 pick. But yeah, this guy's a dragger. We'll just bring him in. Everything will be fine. I don't understand it. Why don't we take a break? It's a little bit of a late break. We'll take a break. We got Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Howdy.
I know a few guys have already been hitting on the topic of backup QB and what Green Bay should do, but I want to discuss something that I'm sure it's been discussed a tiny bit, but I want to highlight it some more, and that is how epic is Goody when he is sifting through other teams' practice squads and how he's able to find quality people that they can plug into Green Bay's system and revive their careers. For example, Devondre Campbell. For example, Douglas from the Cardinals.
Yep.
Malik Willis.
And people are upset about it, and I understand because he's still playing good ball and he would be a good player on this team. That may have been a mistake to let him go. But understand, we got him for peanuts and flipped him. So imagine you bring in a guy for dirt cheap, he plays at a premier level, and then prior to him asking you for a contract, somebody offers you a deal that you never thought you'd get for a guy like this, and you're like, I got to pull the trigger. I have to. So he pulls the trigger and he gets the freaking haul. Solid work.
So we get a Malik Willis for 7th round. At the time, I really did question the trade, but I understood it. He did offer something more than what Pratt and Clifford did have, but it just seems so late when, I had this whole off season and training camp and all that. But it just makes that pick that much better. You look at what LaFleur was able to do, and I'm like, man, people are really beginning to take notice, and it's way overdue. So I'm glad for that. But Goody, I just kind of wondering, did Goody just get the Titans GM fired for this goof up?
That is pretty
trade?
crazy.
I mean, people have got to start taking notice of what Goody has done as far as his picks and the off-season maneuvers of who he has been able to acquire. And all I can say is it's more impressive every time he gets somebody, it seems like. So I just wanted to highlight that. I know guys are aware of it, but it's just like it deserves to be talked about over and over again. And I think we got a great t-shirt idea that we could work up.
Okay.
And it would be LaFleur's face, and it would say, make backup quarterbacks great again. I think that would be pretty good.
That works.
I'm out.
Do you know who the Titans GM is? I've never heard of this person in my life. Granted, I don't know anything about the Titans. His name is Ran Carthen. Ran Carthen. He was, he looks like a relatively fast mover. 2008, he came in as a scout. He just started as a scout, like right away. He played football for a while. 2 years, I guess. And then just jumps in immediately as a scout. Then, after, 8, 9, 10, after only 4 years of being a scout, he gets hired as Director of Player Personnel. That's a massive title. He's been a scout for, first of all, how do you just start as a scout, like, boom, just day one, like I'm a scout now? Usually you got to work your way up. Nope. Pro scout. 4 years as a scout. He's Director of Player Personnel. Those are the guys, by the way, that are like, under Goot, but the top guy in terms of finding people out there in free agency and off. It's intra. It's in the NFL. Then, after 4 or 5 years of that with the Rams, the 49ers pick him up and make him their Director of Player Personnel, 2017 through 2020. Then they, of Pro Personnel, then Director of Player Personnel. And then he becomes the Tennessee Titans general manager in 2023. So they pluck him as the GM. And then after 1 year, he becomes the executive vice president / general manager. What in the world? This guy has got a reputation. That's all I know. What have they done recently? I mean, he's only been there a couple of years. I'm just curious. Like, are they dominating right now? Because I feel like this is the period of time when the Titans were trash. Maybe that's why they brought him on, because everything's falling apart, and they're like, we need a wizard to come in here and fix this. So in 2023, they hired him, and I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter, but it's just interesting. But anyways, yeah, I mean, maybe we were all wrong in saying that we need our people to get more recognition, because maybe it's a bad thing. Because I never understood how people from like Gutekunst's staff weren't getting plucked. It's unbelievable. I mean, we've been able to hire people that should be GMs to be on our staff. And we've retained essentially a second GM because he would also be hired away as a GM. I mean, the staff is unbelievable, and nobody cares because the rest of the NFL seems to have thought that Gutekunst and the rest of the Packers are a bunch of idiots. So it's like, okay, we just keep plucking everybody out in free agency. Everybody's amazing. Guys that are no good. Like, what the heck are you getting this guy for? Oh, never mind. He's unbelievably good. And then the draft, obviously, on top of that. I don't know, man. I don't know how they've been able to retain everything. Same with, I mean, the Packers staff did start to get poached for a while. Fortunately, almost all of them became trash, which is maybe the good thing about the Green Bay Packers is it really is the top guys, you know? At least I hope so. In other words, it's Matt LaFleur that makes this offense go, period. And you can hire all the offensive people away that you want. They're not going to succeed out there in the world. They are a support staff to Matt LaFleur, and that's it. Not saying I know that that's the case. I'm just saying that's how it seems, and maybe that'll keep people away from poaching the system we have here. But I am beginning to get concerned about maybe some people getting hired away from Green Bay from our pro staff, but maybe not. That's fine. Good. I never mind. I don't want praise anymore. We all suck. Don't worry about it. Mind your own business.
Hey, Ryan. Steve up in Alaska. Hope everything's going well with you.
Yeah, man.
I'm up here doing some work. Still trying to shut down for the season. Big smokers. Messy, dirty thing that's clean. But I'm calling because I can't remember who it was that called in. But just in general, this idea that you're kind of going with that, you know, we can't stick with this, you know, smash mouth, old fashioned quote unquote football, and that we need to have a modern pass it all the time and throwing the ball everywhere offense. I disagree with you. You know, if you look at Baltimore, they're pretty much a run first team. And yes, Lamar Jackson hasn't done well in the playoffs, but we don't have Lamar Jackson when we got Jordan Love. So I think we can play this smash mouth football, and I think it'll be really effective because teams aren't built to defend against it. You know, linebackers are smaller and lighter. Defensive linemen are smaller and lighter. So if you can get in there and start pushing the team around and just beating up on them and win games that way, it's advantageous to you. And because we have Jordan Love and because we have the wide receiver talent that we have, if we get in a position where we have to start passing because the other team is stopping our run or their defense, our offense is running up on our defense and pushing it around, and we can do that. We can flip and change things around. If you look at the 90s Packers with Brett Favre, everybody's like, oh, Brent, with all the passing about, all the passing. No, we were a run-first team. But we had a guy that if we needed to get into a shootout, oh, yeah, he can take us in that shootout and win it. So I disagree with you that we have to have this modern pass-first offense. I like the idea of getting in somebody's face. The Shanahan offenses, that's basically, you know, that's the tree that we're under, and that's a run-first offense with the ability to hit you with the play action because you set all that up with the fact that we're just smashing you in the face and you can't stop it, and you start having to bring people up. So I disagree with you. I think there's a lot of movement here in the NFL back towards that style of offense. The fact that we switched from a 3-4 to a 4-3. A 4-3 is a more run-oriented defense. It's designed to stop the run more, which means we are looking to keep people from being able to keep up with us while we smash them in the face. That's kind of my look at it. I think you're a little off on that. I think we can do real well with this new defense or new offensive style that we seem to be going on with Willis. I think we should keep it with Love, especially since he's coming back from an injury. There's no reason to put him out there and make him pass the ball a bazillion times. But yeah, that's my thing. I got to get out of here. My time's almost up. Dude, slow down. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Well, I mean, I don't in any way disagree with you, so I don't know if I said something that I didn't mean or if you misunderstood what I said. I think I think what you might be referencing is, the idea that with Jordan, things will be. Jordan Love brings a different offense. And I do think Matt LaFleur wants to have a spread style, but Matt LaFleur absolutely wants to smash people in the mouth. And you kind of jumped out in front of me. Damn you. Because I was wanting to talk about this exact issue. And the only reason I haven't yet is because I want to look into more data on it. But people have been noticing this. Something to the effect, and again, I don't know this to be factual. I need to look into it. But something to the effect of wide receivers are not getting the same amount of, for example, receptions or yards or anything else that we're used to seeing. Running backs are dominating the NFL right now. We are seeing more running. And beyond that, this isn't shocking. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been talking about this. There's ebbs and flows, and we go to the too high defense, and how do you counter a too high defense? You start running the ball. What have the Packers done? They've been building this for years. They've been getting these bigger, stronger offensive line guys like Sean Ryan that they never draft. They're these massive, mountainous human beings. But beyond that, they invest in tight ends, especially like Tucker Kraft. They get bigger, stronger, heavier running backs that can take a beating. Gutekunst's been doing that since he got here. Aaron Jones was the anomaly, and of course you can't get away from him. But once you do, what do? You go get these big guys that can handle 30 carries a game. And when they set out, guess what? I got another 225-pound guy that's going to smash you in the mouth. And then on defense, what do? We get away from the too high. I don't think, I saw something recently about coverages. The Packers are not, they're kind of middle of the pack at best as far as like running single high, which I thought was strange. But bottom line is we run a defense that is not really, let's say, susceptible to the next evolution. In other words, they're one step ahead. So as defenses begin to bulk up and try to run downhill, we're already kind of prepared for that. So I don't disagree with you at all. Now, I do disagree that we can just go back to 1990s or 80s or 60s and run like that. I don't think that's the case. There's still a modern twist to it. And again, I think Matt LaFleur is, going to stick to the fundamental principles of spreading the ball around, including deep shots, because the NFL, the other thing that the NFL is obsessed with is explosive plays, and for obvious reasons. If you have more explosive plays, you're much more likely to win. As far as correlation goes, there's some of them that are very good, very high correlation to winning, and explosive plays is one of them. So they're always looking for those explosive plays, but yeah, I think that is kind of the evolution. I think that's maybe part of the reason why the whole Fangio thing, it had its day. Not that it's dead. I think the Eagles are doing fairly well. Not sure. I wanted to look at that too, kind of do a recap on how the Fangio guys are doing. But yeah, it seems like we're getting away from that a little bit and moving in a new direction. But regardless of any of that, I think that there is a massive shift from what Malik had and what we're going to have with Jordan. And I do think it was way too run heavy. And it's not even just too run heavy. It's the lack of ability to pass in a way that is, the way Matt LaFleur would like to. So in other words, and maybe this is what you're commenting on, I don't know. The idea that I don't think we can continue winning with Malik the way that we were playing is premised on the fact that we got really lucky against the Colts. And it was entirely because Anthony Richardson was just incompetent and couldn't complete a pass. The ability of teams to shut down a team that just wants to run the ball and occasionally throw a short pass, that ain't going to fly. It's not. So I just think it's too heavy in that direction all at once for a team that's not really built for that. We're not built like the Ravens are. We're not built like a lot of these other teams. There's still a pass-first style. All of our offensive linemen, even if there's a shift, like Zach Tom is a really good run blocker, even if we're slowly shifting in that direction, this is a pass-blocking offensive line. This is a quarterback that you build a team around. As much as I like the running backs, you put the game in Jordan Love's arm, not in Josh Jacobs' legs. But I agree. I think we are transitioning in that direction. I think that the Packers are ahead of the pack, and I'm excited about it because I think that that's how you beat a lot of these teams. But I still think we're going to get back to what we were, which is, maybe a little bit more heavy, a little bit more run, but it's going to be the Packers that we saw against the Eagles and the Packers that we saw last year, as opposed to run the ball 32 times and, throw it 11. Like that's not going to happen with Jordan. So again, I'm not sure exactly what you're commenting on that I said, but I more or less agree with everything you said. Let's take our final break. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calls to get through. We might just clean it up today. We'll see. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Trucker Bob with his prediction.
What's up, Trucker Bob?
I predict that Nails Ryan will drive his 1930 coupe out of Chicago and head for Milwaukee. On the back of his coupe, he has 5 bear skins that he skinned while he was in Chicago. As he drives through Milwaukee, crowds come out on the streets to cheer him on as he heads back to Green Bay for the Packer game on Sunday with the Vikings. The crowd goes crazy as they see him sitting on the back of his car with his pinstriped double-breasted suit with the white pinstripe in his dark black suit, stogie hanging out of his mouth, and his Tommy gun tucked under his arm. As he heads through the streets of Milwaukee, they cheer him on. He heads north, Interstate 47, goes all the way to Green Bay. When he gets to Green Bay, he sees people running on the streets, screaming and yelling, "The Vikings are coming, the Vikings are coming." Nails Ryan stares with his eyes, a grim look on his face. He goes, "Where are they?" They say it's down by the bay. They're coming in their ships. So Nails Ryan, his faithful driver, and his Mexican lawyer head for the beach. There they see the Vikings come in. He jumps out in his Tommy gun, and he saves the city of Green Bay from the Viking invasion. My prediction: Green Bay 27, Vikings 10. There's a top 5 Green Bay defense now solidifies itself with sacking and destroying that Viking front line, offensive line. 27-10. That's my prediction. Go Pack, go. Trucker Bob out.
Well, it's upsetting. It was kind of cutting out there. That was quite a story there, Trucker Bob. I appreciate that. And I was surprised at the very end. I believe you said destroying that Vikings front line. The robot thought that you said a naughty word. So I was very interested to see where that story was about to head, because that's not typical Trucker Bob language. But Nails Ryan, man, that Tommy gun thing. I don't know. We'll have to do something. We gotta put an image together. You know what? I'm going to have that story turned into an image, and we're going to see what it looks like. Not that I can tell you, but I'll send it out somewhere. Also, Trucker Bob is not one to, if he thinks things are going to go bad, he's going to say it. So 27-10 Packers. I like that. I like that a lot. Daniel from Cali.
Hey, Ryan Jenner from California. I'm loving the Bears suffering. Even though it's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't mean anything to me, but go to PFF and look at the drop down of the top guards and look at who is number 3. And yeah, he's a former Packer, but he's also a former Bear. Lucas Patrick.
Yep.
They could use some offensive line help, and they had someone who's on a decent run right now, at least on their team, but they suck. They didn't need Rome. They needed to trade down and get picks.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. Not only did they not trade down and get picks, they sacrificed future picks to get a developmental pass rusher. And
right.
yeah, I don't know, he's got flashes, but it's like you don't need flashes. You need shots at the board. You need as many shots as you can get. It's the wrong thing. Wasting future capital on a 35-whatever-year-old receiver, it's not good. Nope. But Lucas Patrick, number 3 guard in the NFL, it's awesome. Bears had him, and now they don't, and they still suck. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I've never seen a fan base, excuse me, that just has nothing to get. Look at last year. We heard the Bears fans talk about Darnell Wright, how great he's going to be. Javon Dexter is going to be fantastic. Tyreek Stevenson, Zach Pickens, Roshan Johnson, Tyler Scott. We heard about all those guys. Who are we hearing about? Caleb and Rome, and a little bit about the punter. Why? Because that's basically all they drafted. By the way, after Rome Odunze, they drafted Kiran Amagaji, offensive lineman. Nobody hears about him at all. Didn't hear one thing about, he looks good in camp. Things are crazy. He might actually take over. He's out of the question. And then a guy I forgot. I keep thinking Torrey Taylor was their last pick. It wasn't. They picked Austin Booker after that, which I think is what you're alluding to, that they traded up to go get that guy. I could be wrong. But you heard anything about Austin Booker? Anybody mention anything? Like he's going to do some stuff or nothing? No? Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard anything either. That's your whole draft, dude. And here they sit right now already projected to get a top 10 pick. After all that. I mean, we'll see, but you guys, good Lord. But yeah, Lucas Patrick, I mean, he seems to be doing quite well. It might have just been from one game because I know one game he was like the highest graded guy or whatever, but still, he was a solid Packer too. The only place he went where he just wasn't great was Chicago, which really just kind of goes to show you it's really not about the people. It's about the people that are, it's not about the players. It's about the people that are coaching the players and trying to make them good and put them in positions to succeed. That seems to be the problem.
So it's Friday. This call may not make it into
I gotcha. Gotcha, Nico.
Friday game day. But my phone is possessed. It randomly calls people all the time. A lot of times it's who I just called or someone I had called recently. You are in my favorites, just so you know. I got my family, my wife, my children, and then you're the next person.
Give or take. Take it or leave
but,
it.
yeah, it just calls randomly people. It'll be in my pocket for like an hour, and all of a sudden it'll start making noise, and it's a YouTube video on a motorcycle or something I started watching hours ago. Yeah, so my phone is possessed, and I do apologize for that. So,
no, that's all right. It's funny. And I'm not going to play anything if there's something. You got one of those Shannon Sharp phones, so you got to be careful. Garrett.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois. All I can say when it comes to Nico is please don't butt dial Ryan and go full Shannon Sharp on him.
I just said that.
Please. We're begging you.
Oh, boy.
But those other calls are entertaining, Ryan. So anytime he does, and you can read back the interpretation, I'm all for it. So.
That's the other thing. Nonsense interpretations.
Be a little more careful, Nico. When it comes to the Vikings, we're getting drawn closer and closer, and I'm leaning harder and harder that Love is going to be the guy playing. I sure do hope that I sure hope that Coach LaFleur goes real deep into the playbook this time and keeps that defense completely off balance.
Yeah.
And protect Love at the same time. So here's to seeing a lot of trickery and even more. We go up way ahead on the Vikings so that we can pull Love and put Malik back in without having feeling like we're the heart attack pack again. So here's to having a big lead and Malik playing the whole fourth quarter. I'm out.
It's actually interesting because, we know Matt LaFleur, he's got a pretty deep bag, and we've seen our defense with some people breaking it down where it's really confusing trying to understand what they're doing. We know that their offensive play caller is also very creative and very talented. And now I'm seeing people break down the Vikings defense where it's like, dude, this guy is doing some wizardry over here as far as, some of I saw one of the national shows where you got former NFL players saying, this is, very obviously man coverage, right? Well, snap the ball. Oh, now it's not. Now they're switching it. What are you thinking? What are you going to do? Like he's doing crazy stuff. So this is going to be a battle of some people that are really on their game right now as far as just doing some pretty wild stuff, creative stuff. I mean, I don't know if anybody gets the award more than Matt LaFleur with his ability to transform an offense to build around Malik Willis and make it look as good as it did and actually dominate teams. But it's going to be a fun matchup, man. It is. And it's not a matter of who's good and who sucks. I mean, at the end of the year, we'll see. But right now, the way these two teams are playing and the way the coaches are coaching, it's going to be a fun battle of the minds, I think. It's going to be can be interesting. I just hope it doesn't cave in on our heads and make it look like, oh, actually, Vikings are really good and the Packers are stupid.
Hey, Ryan, it's Craig from Indiana.
Hey, Craig.
I just got back from Europe. I was visiting Greece and Turkey.
Wow. Greece is one of the things that a lot of things are, as I get older, when you're younger, you got like one place you want to get, Disney World or whatever. As you get older, I want to try new things, foods, and go places that I never thought I'd want to go. Greece has recently popped up on the list. One of the biggest concerns I have is I'm somewhat of a picky eater, so I don't know how Greece is going to be as far as food, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of stuff there. But it looks super nice. It's one of those things that people that travel are like, if you tried Greece and you look at it, it's like, what is this? I didn't know about this place. Turkey, not sure it's on my list, but it's nearby. I could understand checking it out. You have to let me know. Maybe you do let me know how it went. Let's find out.
Sport my Packernet After Dark t-shirt while I was over there.
Love it.
So got a couple of go-back goes from some people, which is cool.
That's awesome.
But I'm just now catching up to some of your podcasts and After Darks. And one of them, you were talking about the disrespect of LaFleur and Gutekunst, and I totally agree with that. I thought he's been, especially LaFleur, has been kind of screwed in the past with the coaching job he's done. I happened to see an article that The Athletic did a survey of 40 NFL insiders voting on the best front offices, including the coaches. So I think that's the GM, either the owner, in our case it'd be the president, and the coach. And again, just looking at this, a couple don't surprise me that are pretty high, right? So you got the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think we're first and second. Philadelphia was third. And then the 49ers. And then, what else? There was the Seahawks, Rams, Steelers, Lions. And then we get, I think, the Packers and then the Bills. So it just shocks me when I think of LaFleur and Gutekunst and even what Mark Murphy has done for the organization compared to some of these other owners and stuff. But this just shows again the disrespect I think that Green Bay gets for what they've been doing for the last, ever since Goody's really been there and obviously since Matt's been here. So just, want to concur with your frustration with that. Again, it's not about the awards; it's just about the respect. But I think we're starting to hear rumblings of it just because of the last couple of weeks with Malik and especially the LaFleur. But again, you got to give Goody a lot of credit for kind of bailing on his 2 draft picks from the last 2 years at the quarterback level and grabbing this guy when the Titans made the mistake of putting him on the practice squad.
Yeah.
So anyway, hoping for a great game against the Vikings. Go Pack go. It'd be awesome to be 3-1 after this week and share in first place. Keep up the good work. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And again, maybe we should stop hoping for and asking for respect, because as long as people think we're not a very good team, we can expect people to not try to poach our staff. But I mean, it's very obvious that these guys have done an incredible job. I mean, there's other good coaches and there's other good GMs. It is frustrating though, because even if you don't want to say that he's the best GM or the best coach, that's not really the issue. Part of the issue is, on one hand, talking about coaches and GMs that are not good. Do you remember when the Bears, wasn't it their coach and GM? It was like coach of the year and GM of the year, or at least they were candidate. Those guys got fired like 2 years later. No business being in that discussion whatsoever. But, you drafted Justin Fields and he's elite, so you did a great job. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. First of all, he hasn't proved that he's good. Second of all, who gives a crap that you drafted a guy that fell into your lap? It's so frustrating. And then, on the other hand, it's not only are bad coaches and GMs put ahead of them, it's how far down the list they are, like you were talking about. If you want to say Gutekunst is the third best GM because I really like this guy or this guy, like, whatever. But when you have a list of like 10 GMs and he's not on the list or something to that effect, like, okay, this is stupid. And same with Matt LaFleur. I can't imagine today there'd be a top 10 list without him on it. But if it was last year, maybe. And they love like the young guys. They love guys that don't have a bad track record so they can brag about what a great hire it was, that haven't proven anything. But yeah, it was a great hire. And some of them are going to turn out to be good hires. Some of them are going to bust out and be out of the league pretty soon. I don't know, man. It is what it is. And I don't really care enough to make my own list because it's a lot of work. It's maybe a good off-season content thing. I don't know. But it is easy enough sometimes to go. I mean, usually when somebody talks about a GM, I'll go look at their track record and it's not that impressive. Sometimes it is. Sometimes. But a lot of times you look at it and go, okay, you hit on, like the Jets. You hit on like 4 guys. They're really good players. Every single one of them was a top 5 pick. I'm sorry. Like, I understand it's not a guarantee that top 5 is good, so you whatever, but come on. Especially, like, if you hit on all top 5s and then had a bunch of other success, it's like, all right, yeah, this guy, that's impressive. Plus, maybe you maneuver to get in those spots, whatever. You can look at it from that point of view. But if your only hits are those guys, and in free agency you haven't really done anything, I mean, you went out and got Rodgers, which obviously was a big swing, and it's maybe going to be paying off. We'll see how it goes. But I'm sorry, like that's not going to cut it for me at all. But that's what everybody wants. They want big and flashy. Like, you got Sauce Gardner, so you know he's good. No, that's not how you know he's good. I hate to tell you this, but Romeo Doubs was a better pick than Sauce Gardner. Well, Romeo's not better than Sauce. I understand that. But any freaking monkey could have picked Sauce Gardner with that pick. A lot of people are not getting hits like Romeo Doubs and Zach Tom in the 4th round. Those are impressive picks. Show me your hits in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Show me the undrafted free agents. Show me the guys that you've brought up through the practice squad and taken off of other practice squads. Show me what you've done in free agency. And I'm not talking about just throwing all your picks away, by the way, that's not impressive either. If you have 2 picks or 3 picks or 4 picks because you gave all your picks away to go get other people's talent because you don't know how to draft or develop, and then with your 4 picks, you hit on the one that's an early 1st-round pick, or in the Bears' case, you get 2 in the 1st round, one of them being number 1 overall, and you hit on maybe one of those 2 so far. Rome maybe is a good wide receiver. We don't know about Caleb. No, I'm sorry. That's not a great offseason. You're an idiot. Anyways, I don't know, whatever. I don't have a criteria set up other than things that I just said that seem to be common sense to me. I can put one next to the other and just go, I like Gutekunst, man. I'm sorry. Again, I'm sure there's others, but that's even a lot of the other ones that I've looked at, and it's like, yeah, that's probably a little better than Gutekunst. That was maybe 2-3 years ago when I was looking into it at that time. Where are they now? Are they still doing it like Brian Gutekunst is still doing it? Everybody has a good draft or a good year. Like Gutekunst in his first year, where the draft was a little bit shaky, but the offseason was out of control, completely revamped a failing team in 1 year. And yeah, if you compare what he did to some other, he's probably not the best. He's still doing it at a very high level. The offseason is out of control good. And, some better than others, but just in general, like, it's incredible, their hit rate. And then the draft, which I'm impressed with. Yeah, there are misses. I think Quay is probably a miss. We'll see. It's a 1st-round guy. That sucks. Darnell Savage was a miss in the 1st round. I mean, they're all late 1st rounds, but still. But misses happen to everybody. A lot of guys miss on picks way earlier than the Packers took them. They also don't really get any quality from the mid to late rounds aside from a couple random lucky ones. There's not consistent success in those areas. I don't know. Whatever. Well, we got through all the calls, so it'll be up to you guys. We're kind of getting down to the wire here because obviously we'll do a Saturday one if we can get it in, but if there's only 4, we might save it for maybe Sunday's thing. So if there's a flurry of calls, we'll do it. If not, I can't promise you anything. And again, if you want to call about the game, you can call pregame with a prediction if you want. I don't always play those depending on the situation. Especially if the Packers lose, it sucks kind of going back and being like, I think the Packers win 45-10. It's like, yeah, well, I guess you were an idiot, huh? Anyways, let's move on to the rest of everyone's depression. I don't know. You figure it out. We'll decide what to do. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.